Okay, I let the bow dry. Now, I actually let it dry overnight. I didn't need to because I live in Arizona and the temperature and humidity makes things dry quite quickly. But what I also did was I measured 1 3/4 inches from the center to either side on the bow and glued my bridle stops onto the bow right here. Now, the distance between the spine and the upper bridle connection points I have found can be anywhere from an inch to 2 inches, depending on the size of the kite and what you like in terms of the way the bridle works. For me, I don't notice an awful lot of difference based on using it at 1 3/4, 1.5, 1 1/4, 1 inch. It seems to be quite similar. Now, one aspect of the way I now make my kite by cutting it out last, one of the reasons and one of the benefits is, and I didn't mention this before, but when I put reinforcing or strengthening here at the leading edge of the nose, I don't need it to be exactly on the line that I drew from the pattern because when I cut it, I'll cut it along with the sail material. Now, for this reinforcing, you can use regular plain packing tape or you can glue on, packing tape like this. And if you do use this, for example, you could put it on like this, all have this much of it overlapping. And then when you cut the sail, you cut this along with it. So it really isn't any big deal about having to precisely position this. The same is true when I apply tape, which I often do, to the trailing edge in between the two battens. Now, the next step is that the next thing I do is I put on uh, the sail. I put the spine on the sail. Now, this spine, I put a strip of double-sided tape on the back side of the spine, and I'm going to tape it down this line. Now, the tape I use is the same tape I used here. It's called sign tape, and I bought it from Amazon. It comes in a wide range of widths. It's very, it's got a very, very sticky, strong bond when it does bond. I've never had anything I've used it with come apart. So you can glue this. I used to glue it, just put a bead of glue right down the center line and glue the spine in. Now, the tricky part about putting the spine onto the sail after the bow is that the spine has to go under the bow. Now, I don't want this bow to be raised up very high and disturb the smoothness of the sail if I can avoid it. So what I do is I use a toothpick and I raise it up and slide this up to where I want it, and then I put it down when I have removed the backing on the tape. And when I do remove the backing on the tape, I use a second toothpick to position it off of the nose area when it's under the bow. So here I'm just stripping off the backing of the, and then I move the toothpick out and then just align it with the spine line that I have drawn. And press it down. And now that is installed. So fundamentally, the kite is finished other than being cut out and a bridle put on it and a tension line. But I am not finished with it. I want to put on some battens. So the way I do my battens is quite simple. There's many, many ways to do it, and they all seem to work. I put my ruler alongside the spine and I draw a line from the wingtip down to the trailing edge on both sides. Pretty simple stuff. Uh, nothing fancy here. But I've found that this position does an awful lot of good at two things: making the kite track in a straight line well, and reducing the fluttering that would occur without these battens here, which allows the kite to fly quieter and also a little bit faster. Now the next uh, batten I'm going to put on is going to be farther out. It's going to be let's see, it's the distance from here where the bow meets the nose leading edge. From that point, or close to it, which in this case is 4 3/4 inches, uh, I'm just going to put a mark here and then draw a line from here to here. And this is a shorter batten, and it is doing the same job as the longer one. It's keeping the sail a little bit smoother during flight. Now, to put the battens on, I am going to glue them. I cut them to length, and I use 2 pieces of 0.03 carbon fiber here, or you could use 0.8 millimeters. It's about the same. And you can see I'm just using wire cutters to cut this carbon fiber. So I have those two, and now I'm going to cut the other two. And it isn't super critical that they be exactly from the trailing edge to the wingtip line. I use that because I think it's where the most fluttering occurs in the sail. And but many kite makers use very short battens and put them along the sail, sort of like a sailboat sail, if you're familiar with those. So now I just put a bead of glue. I'm using T8000 glue, and I am going to put a bead of it along here, all along, and then put them there, let them dry. After I do that, I'm going to cut the sail out, which we'll do in another video.